For all that's happened tonight, and still Lucy enjoyed it. 3 months later. 8 months since I first joined Volcano High, and it felt like just yesterday. Brand new scene. The sun bears down on us in an atmosphere that's more water than air. Somehow I feel like I'm the only one feeling the heat right now. But the jacket must stay on. Ugh. Naser finally took a day off from his part-time job working at Grub Club. So the three of us went to the park for something of a picnic. I will not make the delivery. Do the dance, Wagey. Do the Walmart dance. Wagey, bring my tendies. Please be hasty. I will not make the delivery dance. Anon, stop asking me to do it. At least tell me how often customers ransom your tips for it. Too often. Now stop asking. Lucy tosses a fork full of the chili cheese fries onto Naser's shirt. I mean, it blends in pretty well, you have to admit. He jumps immediately to his napkin to wipe it off. Gosh, shit, no! Relax, you're wearing another anyway. How and why, I still don't know. It's for conditioning. Can't stop my training routine even if it's the off-season. Naomi isn't even here, leering over you like always. I'm dying here in just one jacket. How are you even alive? Well, I toss over a fork of fries on the other half of his shirt. Lucy offers a fist for me to bump while he recoils with half-finished expletives. Yeah! I down the rest of my soda to keep alive and look down at my plate. Not really that hungry anymore. Should just toss the... Don't finish that thought, gimme. Don't put any more on me. I shuffle my plate to him and rest my elbows on the picnic table. A familiar voice, chock full of cheeky energy, alerts me to her and her food cart's arrival. Well, if it isn't my favorite high school sweethearts. Haven't seen the two of you in quite a spell now. How are you two doing? What you been up to since graduation? Oh, you know, the usual. Dreading the future as an adult, trying to figure out what to do for a living, stuff like that. The more you think about it, the more daunting it becomes. You just gotta let go of your expectations and see where life takes you. Lucy makes it sound worse than it is. We've only been out of school for like 3 months. Only 3 months? Gosh, I could have sworn a lot more time has passed since then. Now that's something I can wholly agree with. These last few months have felt like years to me, both in good and bad ways. So, you two have any plans now that you're both adults? The vendor's words, without realizing it, strike a very specific and very sore chord with Lucy. She suddenly wraps her arms around herself and shuts her eyes. Before I can move to reassure Lucy, the street vendor notices the error of her words. What's wrong, Shug? Was it something I said? No, it's nothing. The street vendor gives Lucy a raised eye look. Now, Shug, I can tell when someone's upset, and you, right now, are upset. So what's got you down all of a sudden? Lucia hesitates on hearing the words. She takes a second to seemingly think about what she'll say next before letting out a sigh. It's just, things are changing so quickly, and it feels like I'm losing everything that I've come to love recently. Lucy shoots me a loving gaze before turning her attention to the street vendor. There's also the fact that I'll be so alone. You alone? What about that hunk of a boyfriend standing next to you right now? I do my best to try and hide the blush that's no doubt forming on my cheeks. Lucy lets out another sigh, this one more on the frustrated side. I'm actually leaving tomorrow. Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to, join the military. I hadn't wanted to bring this up here on the last date Lucy and I could have. Yeah, he'll be gone, and, I cut off contact with some, people. You fell out with your old friends. Lucy gives the street vendor a sad nod. I don't really have any plans for the future. They always seem to change, and I could never decide. The street vendor gives my girlfriend a soft, understanding look as she places down her tongs and walks around her food cart so that she's standing side by side with Lucy. I lost contact with my old high school friends as well, so don't go thinking anything's your fault. From what I see here, you still have what's most important. She gestures to me and then to Naser, who looks up from the remains of my leftovers like a deer being caught in headlights. You got those from Berta, right? You know she puts sawdust in the fryer to save money. And maybe a little bit of Burger King foot lettuce too, you know? Just a little as an extra on the side. Anyways, don't fret about friends or people you've lost along the way. I know it can be hard, but that's not the end of the world. You still have your health. You still have your youth, and you still have your family. The street vendor turns her gaze back to me and gives me a smile. You haven't managed to scare me off all these years. Why'd I stop now? Oh, look at me getting sentimental like I'm my grandma. I shouldn't be gushing like this. Your situation is probably much more complex than I think. No, that helps. You're right. I still have lots of people here for me. The street vendor seems satisfied with the answer. Don't get distracted by the what-ifs, the should-haves, and the if-onlys. Only the things that you chose for yourself are the truth of your world. Wow. The street vendor gives Lucy a pat on the shoulder before returning to the helm of her food cart, which she wheels around with surprising dexterity. Hey, if you ever feel alone and need to chew someone's ear off with your woes, me and my delicious hot dogs are always available. Without another word, the street vendor walks away in search of other customers to cater to, leaving me and Lucy to absorb her sagely advice. Before either of us can truly process what had just happened, Naser walks up to us, all the while wiping his hands and mouth with a napkin. So, you guys ready to go? I give Lucy a glance. She returns it somewhat somberly. Yeah, Naser drives us back to my place in relative silence. He stops in front of my block and unlocks the doors. See you tomorrow, man. Yeah. Well, enjoy your last night together. Lucy and I step out of the car, and he speeds away like normal. Oh, things are cleaned up. Look at that. I've already shipped everything important back home and donated the books. Even the TV is gone. All that remains is the basic commodities the place comes with. But with Lucy here, it doesn't feel nearly as depressing as I thought it would be. She must have heard this as she pressed closer to me, her head resting on my shoulder. I can rent a movie on my phone for tonight. That sound like a plan? Actually, I wanted to look back through the pictures we took together. I nod in response. We curl together on my bed, staring at Lucy's phone app boot up. The summer was well spent. Lucy and I got to go all over town. A well-documented series of escapades, from local farmers markets to a guided tour through a docked warship. Lucy and I share frequent quips and anecdotes about our experiences. Eventually, the timeline goes back far enough for some familiar faces to start showing up. Unwelcome familiar faces that quickly get swiped past. As we keep swiping past older photos, I can see something in Lucy's eyes. I find it hard to describe. A mix of sorrow and longing, of something I can't put my finger on. Lucy? My interjection snaps her out of her mood, and she sets her phone down gently on the empty computer desk. Sorry, Her eyes linger on the cellular device. I have at least 2 other phones with pictures on them. I don't think I'll ever look through those now. Or maybe I'll do it when I really feel like letting go. When I really feel like letting go was the best decision. Lucy casts her gaze around the barren room. It's not really fair to delete them, though. I could just forget about them. I'm good at forgetting things on demand. I take her hand and give it a reassuring squeeze. Lucy sighs, and her exhaled breath seems to expel her mood. I look at the clock and nearly jump. We have been looking at all the pictures for a long time. Long enough that hunger once again finds us. I move to the kitchen and look through my mini fridge. There isn't much left, just some green onions, a few pieces of beef, and 5 eggs. Meanwhile, Lucy looks through my pantry and cupboards for anything else to cook. After a minute of searching, she comes across 2 cups of Patchy Man Robin, just a week shy of their expiration dates. I've discovered a new recipe! Thanks. Thanks for that. The meal prep doesn't take too long for 2 adults. It isn't the most filling of dinners, but it would hold us over quite nicely until morning. With our feast finished, and with nothing else to do now, that all my stuff is packed and shipped off to rock bottom, Lucy and I just return to my bed. I close my eyes for a bit, trying to get lost in my girlfriend's warm embrace. Suddenly, I feel a jab on my ribs. I look down at Lucy, who's poking at my chest. Lucy, what are you doing? Oh, just making sure. Making sure of what? You know, that you're all healed up. Lucy, it's been 5.5 months since the accident. I think I'm pretty healed at this point. Lucy doesn't stop poking me. If anything, she increases the ferocity of her pokes, going not just for my chest, but also for my stomach and my armpits. Lucy, cut it out. I try to be stoic, but I can't help but giggle as Lucy turns into a literal tickle monster. What the fuck? I decide to return the favor by also poking at her, starting with her stomach and gradually moving up to her chest and armpits. Finally, I hover a finger over her snoot, a mischievous grin spreading over my lips. Anon, don't you dare. I let out a giggle as I poke her snoot. Boop. That seems to do it. And Lucy pulls me closer to her, wrapping me in a tight and warm hug. I return the embrace, tempted to resume my tickling assault, but far too comfortable in my Patero GF's embrace to care about anything else in the world. As our laughter dies down, it comes to my mind that this might be the last time I get to hold her like this. I'm going into the army tomorrow. I'm going to get shipped off to Raptor Jesus knows where, and there's a good chance I might not be coming back. It brings my situation into a somber light. I double my embrace on Lucy, the more primal part of my mind unwilling to let go of her. I raise her up and press my head against her chest. Her heartbeat greets me. It is soft yet hastened, like it's trying so desperately to come off as calm and relaxed when it knows what terrible future awaits. A heartbeat I may never again hear. It almost breaks my own heart. I can feel Lucy's hands trace along my shoulders and across my neck to cup my face. Her angelic hands ever so gently guide me to look into her eyes. She has a smile with a hint of mischief. Before I realize where this is going, her finger lands on my nose. Boop. Her smile widens to a playful grin, and I can't help but join in. Such a beautiful sight to behold. How could I resist? I inch closer and our lips meet. All in all, it isn't that bad of a night at all. I woke up absolutely spent. What did you spend? I'm covered in feathers, and Lucy's ambrosia scent hangs heavy over the bed sheets. There's also a stain on the blanket. Lucy's already awake, and she's bathed before me. Now she's rummaging through my fridge for whatever food we have left. Rather than waste time asking the obvious, I decide to hit the shower. As the water strips away last night's scents off me, I get to thinking how Lucy must be feeling right about now. I imagine what tomorrow will be like, not just for me, but also for Lucy. How suddenly she's about to have another big change thrust upon her life. The third or fourth one this year. From the non-binary thing, to the band, to the betrayal, and finally, to having a human boyfriend. Only to have him go so abruptly. I'm surprised she hasn't gone insane after all she's endured. I open the bathroom door and see Lucy sitting on my bed, staring blankly at her phone and swiping across messages. What's up? Naser said he'll be here in about an hour. Knowing him, it'll probably take 40 minutes. $10, he leaves another set of skid marks on the road outside. I sit next to her on the bed. What are you, chicken? Old messages and photos. You know, it's weird. There's not enough pictures of you in here. Hold on, let's fix that. What the fuck is that line? Just, there we go. Perfect. Lucy raises her phone and points its camera lens at me. Stop smiling, you look retarded. Alright, cool. We go silent again for maybe a minute or two. The overbearing silence is broken when Lucy lets out a heavy sigh. Do you really have to go? I can't help but let out a heavy sigh of my own. Today I'll get on a bus and it'll be a Michael Tarpett movie for a few years. I honestly never thought these last few months were ever going to end. There's a heavy silence between Lucy and me for a few seconds. It still feels wrong to me, you know? That I'm still too new at this boyfriend stuff. That I'll never get the hang of it. That if I only had a few more months of practice, maybe I could be better at it. Lucy lets out a short snort. I mean, you're not that bad at it. Most of the time, anyway. I let out a single bitter chuckle. I must have been the single most boring guy you've ever dated. Lucy lightly punches me on the shoulder. That's bullshit and you know it. If anything, I'm the boring one. Lucy deflates as she grabs onto her right arm. I mean, take away my spikes, wristbands, and stompers, and what do you have? The wonderful girl that single-handedly changed my life? Huh? Goddamned mumbling. I never really thought about it. I suppose you trying hard at being tough was endearing to me. At least when you weren't physically assaulting me. There was something else, though. I knew it when we were talking on the rooftop. I wish I knew what that was. Lucy cringed, her hands moving to cover her face. Emotions warred across her face as she tried to form coherent words. I can't stop wondering what you saw in me back then. And all this time we've been hanging out. I still can't comprehend why you stuck around us. Me. I consider for a moment, and a memory smashes its way to the forefront of my thoughts. Glancing at her for a moment, the expression on her face sort of reminds me of something. It was probably just leftover embarrassment from the concert, but she seemed to have a lost look on her face. Or maybe it was confusion, or a mix of the two. Either way, there's something on her mind. I can't help but think that must be how I looked on my first day. I think I felt like you. Lucy stares at me pleadingly with those beautiful citrine eyes of hers. For the longest time, I didn't know who I really was or what I wanted to be. I tightened my grip on Lucy's hand and stared deep into her eyes. Lucy, whatever you want to do. Lucy, in response, glances away in what almost feels like shame. Almost instantly, I realized why. It was your idea. The two of us wanted so badly to avoid the subject, and yet here I was, dredging it up and twisting the metaphorical knife deeper into the wound. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring her up. Please don't think about Trish that way. She's not at fault. I'm just a fucking idiot. Lucy, I just forget that I have to walk on eggshells around certain topics. Lucy puffs her cheeks and jabs me in the ribs. Oh! Lucy crosses her arms and lets out a single scoff. Like I have to be careful when I catch you muttering, watching the newest season of Underage Panty Shot Quest and having war flashbacks fits through the nights. Yeah, I'm a special case, baby. Oh, Anon, what's wrong? Please stop crying because you remembered the projector incident. Oh, is that what she's talking about? War flashbacks? I won't go to war for at least a month after I pass boot camp. Assuming I pass, that is. Lucy raises an eyebrow. Rock bottom, war, Vietnam, you know what I'm saying. I moved on, okay? Just like how you moved on from that non-binary liberal Trish militantism. What the fuck? Who said I did? Lucy unfolds her arms and puts her head on her hands. I didn't work out. I didn't work out as a tough person. I didn't work out as a big musician, and I sure as hell didn't work out as a good girlfriend. Look at us. This whole thing was making everyone's lives around me hell, testing the waters with identifying my gender. It was a complete disaster. You can't really compare the damage I did to myself to you jerking off to cartoons, okay? It's been a few days. What the hell were we talking about again? Me jerking off to what? She's howled. $1,000? What? What? Really? No way. Lucy's eyes widen in horror as she facepalms and falls back on the bed. Fuck. I might have said too much. I already ruined our last day together with stories from when I was just a shit person. Lucy's eyes start to shimmer. Hey, it's fun to compare. I still like you, so I guess girls have it easier. Lucy picks herself up and gives me a narrowed-eyed stare. You just like me? Her eyes droop, and so do her shoulders. I'm not certain if she's serious. But suddenly, she tosses herself into my arms. She puts her whole weight into her embrace, almost like she wants to tackle me. I try to hold us both upright, but the awkward angle and the unevenness of the bed eventually cause us both to fall back in the bed. The world really disappears when we're like this. Something I'm indefinitely glad for. Infinitely glad for. Anon, do you like me better the way I was before? Or do you like me better for who I am now? I say my next words without hesitation. You're much better now. You're a little less mean to me. You don't call me a gun smuggler or whatever it was. I still have nightmares about it. Not cutting weeds in my eyes and kicking me in the face. Though I guess you miss your old life. I must feel like a killjoy in comparison. Lucy slides her head over my shoulder and wraps her arms up from underneath me. I don't care about that. This is so much better. I don't like being forced to care about something I'm usually indifferent towards, or pay attention to what someone thinks is more important than what I'm really already thinking about. I just want to figure it out on my own, you know? If you're talking about me wanting us to marathon Lucky Star, then fine, I'll stop. I'll watch that eventually. Which one was it? Which show was it where the girl suplexes the deer? Because I kind of need to watch that. I think it was something else. Lucy pulls away from our embrace, just enough for me to see the red on her cheeks and tears streaking from her eyes. You fucking dork. I let out a small chuckle as I wipe away some of her tears. I just like seeing you ramble. You'll find stuff that interests you. Just do you, Lucy. Our foreheads touch. She grabs my face with both her hands, all the while looking at me like I'm the most precious thing in her life. All I want to do is bring her closer to me. I want to keep picking apart her brain, become antiquated with every single corner of her mind, and still realize there's always something more to her. I love you, Lucy, so very, very much. And I love you so very, very much. Naser somehow manages to defy our expectations by being late for once. But that's good, as it gives Lucy and I a chance to spend the next 10 minutes gathering the last of my belongings and trashing what I couldn't take. With the apartment cleaned and cleared, I leave the keys on the kitchen counter, sparing one last look at the place I called home for the last few months. Like that one episode of, like the last episode of Friends. As much as it sucked, the tiny excuse of a flat had been my sanctuary. Now that I was leaving it, a part of me felt like I was losing a friend. I try not to think too much about it as Lucy and I make our way outside. Naser isn't here yet, so we end up standing by the apartment lobby with nothing but our thoughts. A part of me thanked Naser for his lateness. It gave Lucy and I some more time together. Lucy's the first to speak up and break the silence between us. What am I going to do when you're gone? Lucy's words surprised me, but I'm ready to answer this with an answer this time. You'll make it, Lucy. You're the only smart person I know. Lucy gives me a deadpan look. I'm being serious here, Anon. So am I. You're capable of so much. Lucy bashfully turns her head away, appreciating the compliment. Thanks, but what about you? You barely survived the stairs. I can't help but roll my eyes at Lucy's words. Thanks for having so much faith in me. Subconsciously, I let out a sigh. I know you'll have plenty of fun getting back to your own life. Especially since there's no semester in the fall to hold you back. The mosh pits will not be as entertaining without you fumbling around awkwardly in them. Lucy, where are you? I'm scared. I could do without them. You, on the other hand, seem eager to get back to that. What do you mean? Back to the mosh pits, meeting strangers, having fun, maybe going for that solo career I know you can achieve. Don't cook me while I'm gone, lady. Oh dear. A sobering thought races to the forefront of my mind. We might not see each other again. The possibility that I don't want to hold you back or make you waste your life waiting for me. Lucy got better, so I should too. But I'll never forget you, Lucy. Never. Lucy stirs like she just got stabbed in the heart. Fuck, that hurts like hell. It's not like that at all. She struggles to find the words, her beautiful face marred by her warring emotions. Lucy, it's okay. I take her hand gently in mine, which seems to settle her thoughts at last. At last, Lucy lets out a soft sigh. When I laid on you all that bunch of bullshit, then when I opened up to you on the roof, my baggage, you thought the worst of me, didn't you? All the questionable and weird shit I must have done back then that resulted in me. Though I could be the better man and not judge you. That was still you, though, and that I came to care for. And it's all in the past, then. The painful tone in her voice makes my heart ache. Lucy, you're still you. She looks really conflicted on the inside, like she's been holding back something. Anon, please just know that it doesn't matter now, alright? I hate what I did so much. I'm willing to pretend that absolutely none of that happened. Her voice cuts out as she chews on her bottom lip. How would she do... We're past the weird kissing phase, okay? I think we figured it out at this. She's afraid her memories will be painful, but for me, that whole discovering myself quest that led me into talking and hanging around people like Trish. Her voice is a hiss, as if she's spitting venom with these words. The gender, pronoun shit, no wonder high school sucked. No one would ever come near me and stick around to see where it went. I was so shitty to everyone that didn't get it. And the people that begged me to be like them, they didn't care about me either. She growls. Tears threaten to fall from her eyes. It was always a competition to see who had the worst baggage, and I always lost because I never had it that bad. And I insisted so much on this thing. Lucy finally lets out a sob. Anon, I never wanted to dump all my baggage on you. It wasn't right. I draw her closer, my hand rubbing the space between her wings soothingly. Lucy, it's okay. You can let it all out. Lucy buries her face in my shirt and takes a deep breath. That thing I used to be, I never realized. It was so humiliating. Naser might have known, and he suffered so much because of it. I think my parents also knew too, and I made them suffer so much for no real reason. Fuck. I was so blind to what I was doing to everyone around me for so long. And to think I was so convinced that being that thing would make me happy. But it was never meant to be. I really was just an ungrateful bitch. Lucy's hand squeezes mine as tight as she can muster, causing some discomfort. At last, she leans her head back, offering me a watery smile. I accept it, though. She needs this. I look deeply into Lucy's citrine eyes, returning my most comforting smile back. Before I can do anything else with my girlfriend, I hear the sound of tire screeching and the roar of an engine. A familiar gray-toned car pulls up right next to us, stopping so abruptly that it leaves a set of skid marks. Lucy reaches into her pocket and pulls out a $10 bill. I motioned for her to keep it. Something told me that where I was going, I wouldn't be needing money. Soon as the car comes to a complete stop, its driver disembarks, all the while munching on the remains of a delectable-looking hot dog. A succulent Chinese meal. Sorry I'm late, guys. Decided to stop by Tracy's hot dog cart to get something to eat, but she took a bit longer than usual. Naser chomps on the last of his succulent meal and licks his fingers clean with a satisfied smile. Anyway, you two ready to go, or do you guys need a few more minutes? I look at the time on my phone. Much as I wanted time to stand still, the bus departing to boot camp will be leaving in less than an hour. I give Fang one last look, and she in turn looks at me. We both know what needs to happen next. Doesn't make it any less painful. Without another word, Lucy and I get in the back of the Naze car. I'm gonna miss the Naze car so much. Naser, without a moment of hesitation, floors the gas pedal as he flies off down Skin Row's small streets. A part of me bids my old neighborhood, shitty as it was, a final farewell. The drive towards the pickup spot is quiet. Not one of the three of us wants to say a word. 15 minutes of silent driving, and we arrive at my designated pickup location. The three of us get out of the Naze car and stand around the bus stop, waiting for the inevitable. Lucy mentioned needing to do something, heading into the office. The silence between Naser and I is deafening. Naser suddenly clears his throat. Listen, Anon. Yeah? You're gonna be gone for a while. Yeah? Yeah. So, riflemen or infantry or whatever it's called? What are they gonna make you do? Something like digging ditches? Not to come off as rude or anything. I sigh and shake my head. At least he was starting to catch his poor words now. I mean, yeah, I'll be doing that too. But they had me take an ASVAB test. They want me to do some more mechanical stuff. Thanks, Rainbow. I appreciate it. I think the code thing was 12K, 19K. They were pushing me into being a tank guy. Can you even drive, dude? Anyways, I decided something more up my alley. It's kind of like shitposting, but more official, I think. Am I going to shill on 4chan in an official CIA position? I hope so. I'm gonna glow, baby. I'm gonna glow like the best of them. What's shitposting? You wouldn't get it. Never mind, the number thing is 46-4. Naser nods his head and looks off. Before the silence could set in again, Naser speaks up, his voice carrying a tone of relief. I've been meaning to say for a while. Thanks, Anon. I mean it. I didn't know what I was doing for a while. If you didn't take the hit and get us together at Moe's, I'd still be feeling sorry for myself like some loser. Honestly, I'd still be that scared little kid stressing over being something I didn't need to be. I didn't do much at all. It was Moe and Rosa, really. It was you and Lucy that patched things up, and I'm glad you guys made amends. Naser gives me a surprised look, but he smiles and nods. We hear the unmistakable roar of a city bus overpowering the other cars as it turns onto the street. It's still a few lights away, though, so Naser gets back in the driver's seat to leave Lucy and I alone. Lucy had come back at some point. I was kind of happy she kept quiet to give me and Naser our moment. All this time we avoided saying goodbye to each other, but eventually it has to happen. Lucy, and a horrifying tugging pain hits me in the chest. You'll be fine while I'm gone, right? Yeah. I seriously have no idea what's going to happen to her. I reprehend any thought that something bad might happen to her. But still, can you promise me that, if I do see you again, that you'll be a better person? Us both. Better persons. Okay, I'll be a better person. But you have to promise me something too. That you'll come back. I mutter. Okay. She mutters. Okay, good. It's settled then. We hugged once again, but she put some serious muscle into it. I recuperate. I want to feel the imprint of this embrace for hours. Her heart's racing. Stronger. The bus driver grows impatient and starts honking. The time has come. Sure enough, I was still feeling Lucy's hug after we separated. Naser rolls down the window of the car. Good luck, man. Say, man. I gripped his hand. He squeezed my hand in return, and then recoiled. My grip was stronger than he was anticipating. I got inside and waved back at them. I give the driver my regards, and laid back, looking at my feet. And I must have thought about a lot of things then. Like, what if I just jumped out the window and ran to her? Or if I would die and never see her again, like in that green Snoot music video. Oh, God. Oh, Lord. Oh. Oh. I bet the conversation, the initial conversation probably went something like that. In that green Snoot music video, I looked back to see if I could still get a glimpse of her. My eyes frantically searched the small figures, and there she was. I caught her in mid-motion, crying in Naser's shoulders. And then the bus rounds a corner, and they're gone. Vanished from each other's lives. I was dropped at a hotel with the other dudes. A surprisingly diverse crowd of humans and dinosaurs conversed. We waited there for another bus that took us to an airport. And I think I might have slept as soon as I sat on the airplane seat, because I don't remember the takeoff or the drill. I was fortunate enough to get a seat by the window. I flipped it up and saw a desert with a 2-lane road cutting through. I don't even know where I am now, only that I'm nowhere near Lucy. God, I hope I see her again. 3 years later. Volcano Bluffs, new duty station, recruiting teens to suffer just like I did. Good times, good times. With my rucksack on my back and a cheap rolling case at my side, I make my way down to my old stomping ground for some cheap living. 3 years. I wonder if Lucy still lives here. There's new buildings in the Galleria, not to mention it's gotten even more labyrinthian. The sun reflecting off the mirror, polished windows are making me alive in my JDUs. Thinking back, I think there was a park nearby that has a decent vending machine. Hopefully it doesn't have a cage on it. Mentally retracing my steps from my senior year, I managed to find the park. Looks like they're holding some kind of festival, with all the booths set up and Tyrannosaurus running around. There's an unoccupied picnic bench, miraculously, so I set my heavy bags, carrying my entire life down, and pop open my water bottle. What a Chad. What a Gaga Chad. Yes, I did join the army. How could you tell? Sitting here, I can't help but reminisce about the last time I was here. There's an awful lot I left behind here. Like my high school sweetheart. The dicks in my old platoon never did believe me. Then again, I didn't want to show that photo album her mom gifted me. Raptor Jesus, I miss her. I wonder if she remembers that promise. Anon? I look up to see a pterodactyl in a floral print dress running full tilt towards me. And you remembered. What? I stand up and prepare to take her down. I am poorly prepared, however. She lunges at me, and before I think to grab my cheap-ass kabar, her beak mashes roughly against my lips. What? I curse my instincts as my hand reflectively hold my amorous attacker by her hips in a CQC stance. Wait. I pull back, both both for air and to figure out if this is who I think it is, and not some well-dressed, sexual harassing lady hobo. Lucy? Even this one's got the eyes. You remembered our promise. Right. Yeah, the promise. That I'd come back and be with you. How could I forget? He's got a little smile. Oh my god. It's... I finally have a chance to take Lucy in. Gone is the halter top, torn jeans, and spiky hornband. In their place, a simple golden sundress and a large red ribbon tied around her head crest, looking for the world like a pair of red bunny ears. Her hands remain on my shoulders, and I can see that she's checking me out now. I'm proud to say I'm no longer a lanklet, especially with how my uniform blouses, rolled up sleeves feel like they're cutting off the blood flow to my hands. I got fit, baby. We're all gonna make it. I promise you that, boys. We're all gonna make it, brah. I hope I don't die in the sauna. I really do. I really hope. I'll be fucking careful. You've really changed since I last saw you, Anon. I'm so glad you're safe after all these years. I got so worried for you. What if something happened overseas? What if you got lost or hurt? What if you never returned at all? Hey, have more faith in me. I still got all my limbs, right? I didn't get too bruised too bad. Like, remember that time I fell down the stairs? God. I'm pretty indestructible, yeah? Maybe I'll wait before showing her my scars. Wow, you're pretty amazing. What have you been up to? Oh, I got my associates, and then... Miss Lucy! Fang shrugs. And then this. A little T-Rex runs up to the table. Miss Lucy, Miss Lucy. Now, Vince, there's no need to yell this close. I kind of wish there was a drawing of him. that'd be adorable. What's wrong? I was playing with Jared, and he said that earthquakes happen when my mommy gets out of bed. Tell him it's not true. Tell him that his mom has a secret daddy she doesn't tell anyone about. Anon. Okay. Oh, no, you don't. Jared, get over here. After clearing up the squabble, Lucy slumps over the picnic table again. Want me to get you a water bottle or something? No, thanks. I had lemonade earlier. The fair's some annual town hunting celebration. This year, the people in charge had extra funding. So today, they're letting the local schools have a field trip here free of charge. Need another chaperone? I'd love to, but parents get really upset over this sort of thing. You have to be qualified and certified to look after these guys. Oh, need a child minding license, yeah? Bred bonkers, yeah? I chuckle aloud at my own silly accent. Lucy's giggles echo my mirth. Lucy's giggles slowly melt away, and a trickling tear leaves from her eye. You're really back. Her hands wrap around me tightly, as if afraid I'll disappear at any moment. My hand rubs comforting circles on her across her back, soothing her. Yeah, I'm back, Lucy. I'm surprised you waited for me here. Of course, that promise means the world to me, Anon. We stay embraced in the hot sun for just a moment longer before I let go again. Lucy's gaze lingers on the children, her eyebrows knit together in contemplation. Look at him, Anon. Fang points towards the kids, screaming and falling over each other. We were all like this at some point. Stupid? Yeah, no, I mean careless. Innocent. Suppose we were. She lets out a sigh. One day they're going to start thinking and doing all the wrong things we thought and did when we were teenagers. I wish I could stop it from happening. They're perfect just like this. Kids can be mean to each other, but not cruel. The world makes them cruel. Kids can be cruel, Jack. Let me tell you. We need to go back to the good old days after 9/11. Let me tell you, Jack. Until then, they're free. We got to protect their freedom. Save them from our mistakes. That's quite a statement to hear from her. You've changed. I think now would be a good time for a segue. I'm glad to see you're doing good. How's everyone else? Everyone else? You know, Naser, Trish, Naomi, Reed, all those guys. Oh, Naser went to medical school. She closes her eyes as though trying to recall a lost memory. And there's another face. These faces just don't look right on them. Let me tell you. I haven't seen Naomi, though. And the others? Haven't seen them since either. But you're here now. Now that you're back, I'm never letting you go again. I'm not going anywhere, sweet tooth. Lucy rolls her eyes. You know, if you had said that back then, I'd have hit you. Yeah, and I'd have just done it again because you're cute when you're annoyed. And I'm cute when I have candlesticks up my ass. Let me tell you. I can totally see her dripping hot wax on your balls. Jesus Christ. Ugh. I guess we've both changed since then. Oh yeah? How so? I mean, when I first enrolled, I had every intention of just laying low and not sticking out. I didn't care much about making friends, as long as it suited that goal. As long as I didn't get bullied anymore, I was glad just to blend in. Guess that plan fell apart. Oh, it did. Yeah. Every day, people still try to send me jars through the mail. And little Rainbow Dash dolls. It's unfortunate. What happened to that little doll? It did, yeah. I kind of blame you for that development. I made you care about people. You did. A few kids chase each other around the table. You get any break time today? I'd love to check out the town, see what else is different. I'd love to. I'll go ask. I might get a few minutes to step away. Yeah, we can go and check Volcano High again, for old time's sake. She freezes for a second. I'd rather not, Volcano High. Too many bad memories. Lucy ended up getting the rest of the day off from her supervisors. I was surprised by how understanding they were once they saw me. They said I deserve it after a hard day's work. You do look exhausted dealing with the ankle biters. Not at all. Truth be told, Anon, I love doing what I do. Catching up with Lucy was the happiest I felt in years. The memories came rushing back as we walked under the hot sun. So you don't know at all how Reed and Trish are doing. Oh, when was the last time I spoke with them? Hope Trish is all right. The two of you were friends for the longest time. I guess I didn't feel the need to see them again. Looking back, they were terrible influences. I guess so. And Stella and Rosa? I haven't seen them either. Seems weird, considering Rosa was such a help to us. Don't get me wrong, Anon. I love what Rosa did for me, Naser and you. But I guess I just didn't need to see her anymore. I didn't want to see anyone else, for that matter. You must have had friends in the army, back at Rock Bottom, or even before that, right? They're gone from your life, too. There's nothing wrong with that. Haven't you looked for them? I don't want to. The scenery here seems familiar. Oh, this is my old path to school. Maybe I will get to see it after all. Let's turn away. To Moe's, or somewhere. I wanted to see the school again, though. No, Anon. Seems like we just repeat each other. I get upset over nothing, and I apologize. Sorry, I just don't want to remember Volcano High. I did too much dumb stuff there, you know. I just want to forget it, that all that happened. Moe's is fine, too. I do want to see how that fossil is doing. Actually, Moe retired. He sold his franchise. Oh well, we can still go check it out. It took a while to get there, getting to be nearly 5 when we arrived at Moe's. We ordered our usual and picked a table. I can see the old piano in my peripheral vision. I've been asking so much about what you're doing now, but what happened while I was away? I remembered your promise. I tried improving myself, like, really tried. But things kept getting difficult. For a while I gave up. There were times when I'd cry. I would think back to when you were here and miss you so much. I don't want to worry you with the details of what I did during that time, but I guess I realized something. All this time I was a huge dick to my family. I idolized things too much and lashed out at them for not being on the same page as me. I wanted to be a rock star, so I wanted them to behave a certain way. I think it would fit for that lifestyle. I was being unfair and unrealistic towards them. I wanted them to hate me, and somehow that was going to further my career. Looked like it worked for a lot of famous people. I didn't want to make my family sad anymore, so I just did what I've always should have done and learned to love them, and thank them for all they did for me. So you kept playing? I'd love to see what else you've composed over the years. I'm sure it's great. No, I just gave that up. Really? That was such a huge part of you. I didn't need it anymore. Plus it reminded me too much of Trish. I've put away the instruments somewhere and never played anything ever again. Then what have you been doing all these years? Dad needed help with the charity event. He bought food and he needed me to help him carry it around since Naser was away in college. I thought it was just going to be a boring evening with a bunch of brats, but I saw something. I saw the children. They ran around me. They offered me toys to play with. I joined them. I lifted them from the ground. Some clung to my legs as I moved about. No one ever played with me like that. No one ever approached me like that. It was so pure, so innocent. Should have shown them a picture of you in your high school clothes. That would be hilarious. But yeah, I enjoyed my time with the children so much, I asked around at my church, and eventually I got a gig dealing with preschoolers. She looks so happy right now. I feel like I would ruin the mood to bring up Trish, Reed, and the others again. You know, part of me expected you to forget about the whole promise. That I'd come back and some lucky dino guy had already swept you off your feet. She just smiles and gives a small laugh. The amount of guys I had to tell that my boyfriend was just deployed and coming home soon. She began stroking my hand on the table. And I'd never forget about you or our promise. Part of me is glad she's saying this to me, but I still have too many questions. It's weird because I know she's happy. She looks happy in her work, and she's glad I'm here. But something deflates the moment. I don't know what it is. I look towards the decorative piano Mo always had in the corner. Look, Fang, the piano. What about it? You think they'd let us play it? I don't know. It's probably out of tune. Might be worth a shot. Come on. But you can't play. Then you play. As we sit by the piano, I think she understands why I'm teasing her like that. I open the lid. The keys look rather pristine. And in her fingers lightly roll across the keys. She retracts herself. I haven't played in a long time. I don't know if I can still do it. I bet you still remember how to do it. She positions her hands just above the keys. I haven't done this in years. I don't even know which song to play. I want to see you play, that's all. I want to hear you after all this time away. All right. She gave out a sigh, but then... What to play? Her eyes seemed to glimmer for a moment. I know. Remember this? It was our song, remember? We made it together. I still got it. I always thought of this melody when I thought about you. Guess I never forgot how to do it. Thought I'd be rusty with the piano. You play beautifully. Thank you. I sit closer to Lucy. She rests her hands on my shoulder. Her hands are still resting on the keys, eager to play again. You shouldn't have abandoned music. We talked about what we would do now, especially since it was getting dark outside and the streetlights were coming on. We walked our way back to where we started, near the park. I don't know, Anon. It's just so weird. A music teacher? I don't know, Fang. Might be cool if you tried. Fang is shivering, the colder air setting in. Here, this'll get you warmer. I draw Lucy close to my chest. She snuggles up to me. Thank you. She's precious, being taller now. I guess the animal part of my brain is telling me to protect my smaller and more fragile mate. Little by little, I'll get you back to music. Your friends, I'm sure it'll work out fine towards the end. Lucy stirs. She doesn't like the idea. Anon, please don't ask me to do that. I'm not ready. How are you not ready? I lied, Anon, okay? I lied. I disappointed you. I promised I would get better, but you're clearly not happy with how I turned out. Nonsense. You have no idea how proud I am of you. I'm still broken, Anon. I've even started printing again because I had no one. But remembering I promised you and Naser I wouldn't do it anymore hurt even more so. But that was years ago. I swear I tried getting better. Forgive me. I'm the one sign this time. You wanted me to live my own life. Be this great person you wanted me to be. Yet I'm here doing menial church tasks and dealing with children. I got no friends, no new songs, nothing going on for me. I know I needed to be a famous musician to make you happy. I know I needed to have forgiven Trish and the others, but it just didn't work out. I couldn't do it. I'm lonely, Anon. You're all that's left for me. You didn't need to be all that to be happy. I still think you're the best. Forget it, Lucy. What's done is done. We're here. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. I embrace her. I could tell she was getting tense, but slowly she relaxes in my arms. When I said we're being here together was all that mattered, she hugged me back. I'm here, and I still can't believe it. Lucy is shaking with excitement in my arms now. I already am thinking up all kinds of things we could do. Fuck, just knowing I won't see you until tomorrow already hurts me. I can take you to see Mom and Dad right now. They would get a kick out of seeing you like this. Not right now. That would be too much for them to take in. And I have to unpack too. I got a little room in a motel for now. Would you like some help? I thought to deny her, but Lucy's eyes are pleading with me to say yes. I've got quite a bit. You sure, Lucy? All the more reason for me to help. All right then. My motel isn't too far from here. I wasn't kidding when I said I had a lot to unpack. Between all the luggage I brought back with me, and the heavier memories of my time spent in the arid deserts, I saw and felt a different side of Lucy I'd partially forgotten. Her tender hands rubbing soothingly across the scars now littered across my chest. We stayed up till the warm morning glow of dawn lit up the messy motel room. Clothes, paperwork, and useless knickknacks I'd collected were scattered everywhere in an organized chaos. And yet I've never felt more rest and at peace with the world than with Lucy cuddled up next to me. A peace shattered by my stomach demanding subsistence loudly. How about we get some breakfast? My treat. A breakfast date does sound nice. Say, how about we invite my family? I'm sure Mom would love to see you again. Probably would too, however. I'd rather spend it with just you, Lucy. I grin as I watch Lucy's face turn beet red. You were never this smooth a talker, Anon. Fine, but I definitely want them to see you. Tomorrow then? Tomorrow. I'll tell them first. Get them hyped to see you. That would be great. So tomorrow then? Tomorrow, yes. We made our way towards her car door, but before getting in, she once again embraces me, this time a little stronger. It's okay, Lucy. I was so lonely, Anon. You don't need to be alone, you know. I'm so glad you're here. I missed you. I missed you too, Lucy. Though I miss the old thing, I'm elated. I love you, Lucy. Ending 3 of 4. Volcano High School Musical. Man. Jesus Christ. I don't know what to do with myself anymore. Oh, my British Anon. My God. Oh, don't spoil Rainbow. Don't spoil it. What the fuck is that? Contest winner? What? What happened? Oh, look at that. Jesus Christ. I don't know what to do. Oh, you unlock them by beating the game. I see how this works now. When you get, I think you unlock them like a certain amount for each ending you get. So like you unlock, okay, 3, 6, 9. Okay, I think that's how it works. Anyways, you unlock a few for each ending. We're gonna see what these are. Just give me a second.
This way, no matter what, you always have somebody here for you. I'm never gonna leave you.